This is a Glassbox Media podcast.
Welcome to My Worst Date. I'm Cassi.
I'm Keegan.
I'm Christina. We've got a lot of things to dive into. First and foremost, I do believe, is this our last time recording with Keegan in a little box?
I pray.
Not
computer
yet.
screen?
Not yet. Oh, I'm so sorry. We have one more weekend of having to do this. I know. I just rained on your parade so hard. But I will be coming home soon, just a little over a week, and I am very ready to come home. But this is our first time recording together after our live show in Austin.
Which was so fun.
Yeah.
And oh my God, huge shout out. First of all, to Outlier for being so gracious and accommodating. We had a little travel snafu, which but they accommodated us and let us do the next day. Mm-hmm. We just want to shout out to the people who did come. We had a few people who had to miss the show because of the change in time, and we had actually a blast hanging out with some new worsty friends. Christina and I got to have some drinks with a couple of our worsties. That was a blast, though.
Yeah.
That was actually a blast.
Oh, yeah. And shout out to, Queen's podcast. I know we got to hang out with them.
Oh, yeah. So fun. Oh, my God. So fun. And they're also I've been following them on TikTok, and they're such a great follow on TikTok. And I want to give a big, apology to all of our worsties. I know that there was a grip of worsties who had purchased tickets to come see the show on May 5th, which was the original night that it was supposed to go up. And we had to reschedule because I was stuck in Dallas for 9 hours.
9 hours?
9 hours.
It's a
in the airport
flight from Dallas to Austin.
You could have
walked less than an hour. I could have, probably walked there more quickly.
If they had given you your luggage, by the way.
But
that was the other thing. Yeah.
They had my luggage. Yeah, because I was going to drive. When I tell you I did everything in my power, I probably wore out the poor customer service representative at the American airline counter because I was like, what can we do? Can we cancel my ticket? Can I get a car? Where's my luggage at? I know it's in this airport somewhere. Can you just go get someone to go get it? And I'll drive to Austin.
I'll be out of your hair, ma'am.
Mm-hmm.
But then there wasn't a car to be
on
had.
this plane, my guy. So I just I did everything in my power to get there, and I was so upset. I mean, these girls can tell you it was the saddest thing. Alone in the Dallas airport, just sitting on the floor crying on the phone to you two about missing the show because I really didn't want to do that. And so we will definitely make it up to our wonderful Austin worsties who weren't able to attend the show. We love you so much.
Yeah. Yeah. And we will plan, because Queen's podcast is there, we actually talked to them about even possibly doing something together with them, which would be amazing. So we'll keep you guys posted. We'll definitely have some more live shows coming up. We do appreciate the people who were able to make it, but yeah, it was kind of a bummer on everybody's part. We were bummed. We were bummed to not hang out with Keegan because we hadn't seen her for a gagillion years. That was a bummer for us as well. But yeah, 9 hours in the airport, you win. That was the worst.
You know what was fun though was that when I did get in, it was like we had girls sleep overnight, which I have not had obviously since I was in high school or something, where it was just drank a bottle of wine and sat in the living room and just talked shit and ordered Greek food way too late. And
choices were made. That's for sure.
Decisions.
Yeah.
I opened a White Claw that never got drank, and I have no regrets about that because I feel
we felt it the next day.
I feel like my gut was rotted out from the inside out after that weekend. We really were girls weekend.
Listen, I got home and I did go out that night on Saturday night, said I wasn't going to, right? And I went out, I went to a bar, did drink a little bit and then didn't drink again until yesterday because we drank so much in Austin. But when I was at that bar, I made a TikTok about this. what's going on? I feel like since people are out in public again, there's some real shady shit happening because I have to ask, when was the last time that a man kissed your hand? Like this was like Arthurian times.
I mean, I can say I don't think that has ever happened to me, like in my life.
A stranger.
It has happened to me. It has happened.
Who?
It's
Tell me.
awful. I don't remember the person. I remember, and it was like a weird kind of like, oh, good day, my lady kind of situation. I was like, that ain't it.
Was it someone you knew or was it a stranger?
It was a stranger.
See,
and
what's
it was
going on?
Yeah, no, it was a long time ago though. So I don't think it's just a post-COVID people don't know how to act. I think that there's just some men who don't know how to act in general. I don't know that it has anything to do with
touching without
time.
permission. First of all, we've discussed this. Like even when you're trying to like get past a woman, that like lower back or waist grab to like pass is not good. So touching in general, avoid it. But to put any part of my body on your mouth is
not in these trying times.
Not in these trying times.
Especially not now.
Not now for multiple reasons. One, pandemic. Two, like every woman I know is on the verge of just like tearing
Total
this
collapse.
country to the fucking ground.
Dude, did I research asylum laws this week? Absolutely, because I'm like, if I'm a second-class citizen here, I wonder if I can get asylum in more civilized countries.
I mean,
sorry,
amen.
No, you're not
I
wrong.
said it,
You're
but
not wrong.
when they're with this stuff I have seen this week, I went a little too far down the TikTok rabbit hole, down the news rabbit hole and stuff, and I just like, I feel like that character in Inside Out. With the head on fire.
Rage.
Oh yeah,
that's what I feel like all
Definitely.
the time now.
So I mean,
just angry.
I actually recorded a new episode with my other podcast this week as well, and you know, usually I haven't been doing that as much, being away and everything. So yeah, we did the history of Roe v. Wade, and so it was just lots of reading on that.
That'll make you feel not good.
So it's been fun. It's been fun over here.
Light.
But speaking of TikTok, so I love it. We get tagged in TikToks, I feel like pretty consistently now.
Yeah.
And this woman made a TikTok about, she was over at a guy's house. He was already kind of giving like, I don't know about this guy vibes. But she stayed over there anyway the night. And then she got up the next morning and she was looking for something.
Toilet paper.
Toilet paper. Although I'm like, girl, if you were just snooping, just say that. That's fine. Listen, we've all been there.
No judgment. I mean, there is like an actual TikTok with a girl that just shows you men's bathrooms.
Yeah.
She's like on a date and she's like, what do you think? Point out the red flags, like judging how much like,
you're like
skincare they have.
Axe body work, the Axe body like 3-in-1 shampoo, conditioner, body wash in the shower. Red flag, right? But so she like opened his drawer and he has like a stockpile, like a drawer like filled to the gills with Plan B.
Like not the generic either.
No.
The actual like that shit's like $60 a
Expensive.
pop.
It's really expensive. Yeah. And so there was a lot of opinions in there. She was like, look, what are your thoughts? Right. I mean, she did make a follow-up, which will give us more context, but like on initial reaction, what are our responses here?
Okay, so the first time I watched the TikTok video, I was like a little bit conflicted because I was like, I actually like the preparation. It's giving me Capricorn. It's giving me like thinking ahead.
Real Virgo vibes here.
It really is. And so I'm like, okay, well, that's one thing to be prepared, but it's so much. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
The quantity of it. I'm like, how many times do you have to give this out?
Plan A. First of all, let's just address that.
His plan A is the plan B.
That's his plan A. He's like, I am going to do this thing and I will just follow up with a plan B. Right.
It makes me wonder though, like, is he's just my thoughts were, okay, this guy doesn't use condoms. That was my thought.
Exactly.
Like this is about him and his pleasure, and he doesn't give a shit, and it doesn't have anything to do with your protection. It doesn't have anything to do with his
it's all about his consequences,
his
eliminating
consequences. He doesn't give a shit if you get any kind of like STDs. He doesn't care about anything other than not having a baby of his. And that says a lot to me about the type of human who would do that.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of, I don't know, because I think it says a lot about like who we are, Cass, and the differences between you and I. Because my first instinct was like, oh yeah, Plan B is really expensive. How thoughtful to be like thinking ahead. And then I thought about it for like a second later, and I was like, oh yeah, if you have that much Plan B, like that is your Plan A. Like that's your plan, is like that you are going to do what you want to do. And then you will toss a Plan B
my way as I walk out the door. Like,
exactly.
go, thank you, Sir Gentleman Man.
Is it
Milady
like his Oscar grab bag or whatever? It's like you get Plan B, maybe like
a
bottle of water
samples
but it's like the bottle of water has like a specialty label like that he had printed up, and it's like his Instagram and his TikTok on there.
Oh my God.
Stop it. Yes.
TikToks.
Yes. And, as somebody in the podcast space, I will say I don't shit on men with podcasts. We know a lot of male podcasters. We were just at Outlier. There are so many like really incredible male podcasters.
So many good ones.
I will start off by saying that with that disclaimer. But it is kind of just like a joke on the internet that all of the men on TikTok who go like viral are like misogynistic assholes with microphones, right?
This one in particular, the shoe fits.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So she did a follow-up where she was talking about him because he wouldn't shut up about the fact that he had a really successful podcast in Miami. He made her sleep. She spent the night over there and she slept with like a pillow from the couch, like a throw pillow, because he only had one pillow on his bed.
And he makes so much money.
Lumpy too. I'll bet that shit is lumpy as fuck.
A lumpy college pillow on his bed. And
oh God, you take that pillowcase off, it is yellow. That pillowcase that pillow is yellow.
Yes, it is. And so people were able to deduce who this guy was, and he is all over TikTok. Drew Afualo has torn this man to shreds on many occasions. And so it is, and he went on and on. He had like a lot of like really misogynistic things that he said to her when she tried to break it off with him because she's like, we don't have the same beliefs. He like pushed back against it and sent her a bunch of text messages. And so we know what kind of man this man
what we're dealing with.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. But I do find it interesting, like the conversation around like because I do feel like the financial burden of contraception in that way, like birth control, Plan B, it's very expensive and it often falls on the woman.
You guys nailed it. Like, yes, it's better than nothing, which is what most people have, but it's not about protecting the woman or whatever. No. It's all about protecting himself from the consequences of his own actions. And so, I would much rather like have a guy with a shit ton of condoms in his bedside table than
right. And if you had if you had a Plan B, like a Plan B or two around, then I think that that's not a bad idea.
Because condoms break and everything.
Sure. Yeah, like a backup plan. Like if it really was your Plan B.
Right. If Plan B was actually your Plan B.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, man. Just wow.
But that dude had it on stock like he owned the company or something. It was an entire
he had it on stock like he has stock in it for sure.
Yes. Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes. Wow.
Yeah. I'm gonna say red flag on that one.
Flag on the play. We've had some. I love it. I love that you guys are tagging us in TikToks. That one we definitely got tagged in a bunch. We've had a few wild stories. So Keegan, you had posted on TikTok, like this is the common things that we see in the dating world, and these are some of the common bad dates. And one of them was people eating without utensils, and
Yes.
somebody was like, that is my friend. Like, my
That
friend
is
does
so
not
weird.
eat with utensils, like spaghetti, no matter what. And I'm like, oh my God.
Right, because
Spaghetti.
here's the thing. Like, I worked on this short film that was all about Ethiopian culture, and I got to spend the day with a bunch of people from Ethiopia. It was really, really cool. And they don't use utensils as part of their culture, right? It's like a lot of things are picked up with bread or whatever. And that's not what we're talking about. Like, we're not talking about like if you eat everything wrapped up in a tortilla, right? Like, we're talking about like spaghetti. We're talking about mashed potatoes.
Yes.
Right?
Mashed potatoes.
Just
my
scooping
story
it up.
that I shared, so like rice pilaf, rice.
Yes, like shoveling it in to your mouth with your fingers. Like, come on.
Salmon and
In public.
Oh man. Like,
yeah.
no.
No,
that ain't
listen, I like eating with my hands as much as the next person. In fact, summertime is charcuterie. It's all about like just not cooking stuff because it's too damn hot.
Mm-hmm.
So I can get down on some finger foods. Salmon and rice pilaf is kind
That's
of
not it.
It's not it.
That ain't it.
I
That ain't-
always just
that ain't
picture,
it.
because I'm pretty sure we had somebody one time and it was mashed potatoes. And
Yes.
that is the thing that I always picture, because I'm like,
And steak.
imagine picking up mashed potatoes. It would get underneath your fingernail. Like, you're trying to like scoop it. And like, it just at that point, just put your mouth to the plate. Like, don't even use your hands. Because like
Like a dog. Nom, 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 nom.
Just licking it up.
That would actually be more impressive.
honestly,
Make for a really good bad day story. That's for sure. Oh,
truly.
Well, who should we fuck, marry, kill this week? I did find this BuzzFeed article that I thought was really interesting. It was a celeb crush poll.
Okay.
And it's like this woman, Hannah, says, my mom and I each picked our top 20 celebrity crushes. Now we need you to choose between them. So it's a series of polls featuring just some of the beautiful celebrity men that my mom and I adore. My favorite guys are on the left and hers are on the right. It's up to you to choose which guys you think are the dreamiest. Okay, so which of these British beaus would you rather take out to dinner? Andrew Garfield or Idris Elba?
Idris Elba.
Oh, this is hard. This is really hard for me because I think, okay, I'm going to give my answer. I think Andrew Garfield, and here's why. Idris Elba has that intensity about him and he is so hot that I feel like I would just be like, you've seen me clam up in front of people before, where I just get like really like sweaty and like nervous. And I feel like that's what would happen with Idris Elba. Whereas like Andrew Garfield, I'm like, okay, we have like musical theater background. I know that he's a reader. And in fact, because he's talked about it, I know what kinds of books he likes. Like, I'm like, I can go to dinner with Andrew Garfield and hold my own in a conversation. Like, I know that I can.
I don't
Idris
think you'd
Elba's,
have to
I'm
with
going to be a
Idris.
sweaty, puddly, like nervous mess.
I don't think you'd have to hold your own with Idris. I feel like he'd have plenty to say.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Andrew Garfield only because right now I'm watching Under the Banner of Heaven.
Oh, God.
And it's really good. So,
He's so
but
good.
honestly, both would be great.
Oh, a
I'm
dream.
Like, can I
Yeah.
choose both? But
Yeah.
okay. How about, would you rather go to a movie premiere with Jake Johnson or Josh Duhamel?
Jake Johnson. So he's from New Girl?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I know.
Uh-huh.
I'm just
Nick
trying to
from
think
New
of
Girl?
like who I would rather. I think Josh Duhamel. I think the chances are more likely that it's a movie with him and a movie premiere. Like, I
Oh,
think his
sure.
movie would
Okay.
be more interesting, and
Oh.
not because of like hotness. Honestly, I just think because of like, what movie would I enjoy?
Yeah.
You're going to get more of a Hollywood experience with Josh
Right.
Duhamel, I think. Yes.
I want it.
Whereas like with Jake Johnson, it's probably going to be like more loosey-goosey, funny comedy sort of situation. Yeah.
I also think Jake Johnson might be a little bit more down to earth because poor guy is so attractive.
He's so
But do you
cute.
remember in New Girl, they kept calling him like the fat schlubby one? And
I
I'm
know.
like, that's terrible. He
I
is
think
a
he's
very
so
attractive.
cute. I think he's so
person.
cute.
He was definitely the cutest one on that show.
Yes.
Let's be honest.
Oh, okay. Who would you rather sit next to on a flight? Donald Glover or Ashton Kutcher?
Donald Glover.
Donald Glover.
Donald Glover. Are you
Yeah.
serious?
100.
Without question.
100%.
I mean, Ashton Kutcher would be interesting, but Donald Glover by far, yeah.
Okay, how about which of these two fine, funny men would you rather share a picnic with? John Krasinski or Rob Lowe?
Mm.
Oh, no.
I keep picturing
Rob
Rob
Lowe.
Lowe as his character
In Parks
and Rec.
and Recreation.
And Perkins.
This one's I'm you know what? I'm going to go Rob Lowe. I'm going to go with Rob Lowe. I feel like John Krasinski I get the vibe, and this is no shade on John Krasinski, but I get the vibe that he might take himself like just a scotch too seriously.
True.
Like as like an actor. Like I just get that energy from him. Maybe it's from all the like Jack Ryan stuff that he started doing.
Yeah.
Where I was just like, I just feel like maybe you take yourself really, really seriously. And I get the vibe that Rob Lowe takes himself somewhat less seriously. So
Have
I'd
you
rather
seen
have a picnic
like the
with him.
show that he does with his son?
Yeah.
Or whatever.
His sons, yeah.
His son like rips on him. It's so funny. And he takes it in stride. He does seem like he has a good sense of humor about himself.
I would rather have a picnic with John Krasinski only because it's one step closer to the Tooch. Because they're brothers-in-law, Stanley Tucci and him. And I'm like,
right.
if you can introduce me to your brother-in-law, then
I
I'll
did
go
not
on
know
a picnic
that.
with
Yeah.
you. Yeah, so he's married to Emily Blunt. And Emily Blunt worked with Stanley Tucci on Devil Wears Prada, and her sister showed up to set, and Stanley Tucci met Emily Blunt's sister, and they got married. And so now John Krasinski and Stanley Tucci are brothers-in-law.
That's wonderful.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Gorgeous.
I'm going to have to do Krasinski too, just
Yeah.
for that reason.
I think Rob Lowe for me.
I'm
I
going
think
Rob
that-
Lowe, yeah.
Okay. Who makes you swoon the most? Chris Hemsworth or George Clooney?
Okay.
Hemsworth. God, they're both funny.
They're both
Swoon.
funny.
Swoon specifically.
Swoon
actually makes me
specifically.
Kind of feel more like, because you don't have to meet them, you don't necessarily have to talk to them. You just are like, ooh, he hot. I think it's George Clooney for me. I was gonna say Hemsworth. Like initially,
It's really close,
Yeah.
right?
It's really
I'm like,
close. It's really close because there is something very. If I'm going on just like on-site attractiveness, Chris Hemsworth is a
Right.
beautiful human
he's
specimen.
fine. Yeah.
Yeah, that man is like just objectively gorgeous.
That's also maybe the thing too, right? Like, because I think that if you're like, ooh, I can just swoon. I don't. There's like they're both too hot for me, 100%. But there's this little tiny nugget in my brain that's like, well, but maybe Chris Hemsworth would talk to you and think you're funny. Where I'm like, George Clooney would never have anything to do with me. I am not his equal on any stretch.
Well, you see, I don't know. Okay, because here's the thing. I feel like both of these men will be so nice to you in person. Like, I feel like, yes, you probably don't have a chance with either one, but I feel like they will both make you feel like, I feel like George Clooney really has a thing where he makes people feel seen when he's speaking to them. I get that vibe when he's in interviews and stuff like that. So if we're going just swoon, I think, and this is a little surprising to me as well, I think I'm going to go Clooney just because I feel like he's
magnetic.
Energy. Yeah. There's an energy to him that I feel like is very magnetic, like you said. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm going Clooney as well. I do think Chris Hemsworth is really attractive. But I feel the same way that Cassie does, that there's an approachability about Chris Hemsworth, which is part of what makes him so attractive, is that he's so hot, but it's that Channing Tatum thing.
Yes.
Where it's that little bit of a sense of humor about themselves and a warmth and approachability.
Yeah.
Not that George Clooney doesn't have that warmth, but he is definitely like,
You're so out of my league,
on another
motherfucker.
level.
Swoon.
So-
swoon.
Yeah.
Out of
His
my
wife
league.
is just like absolutely insanely phenomenal.
She's out of my league.
I actually just remembered something that we were talking about on our drunken girls' night.
Oh, no.
Do you remember we had a conversation about brothers? Celebrity brothers.
Oh
Oh my
God.
God. Yes.
And I just remembered it because
Yes.
Chris Hemsworth, we were like, not famous siblings or
Right, I mean,
whatever.
and his brother is is in stuff. Like his brother is in
Arguably-
Westworld. Like he's a working actor. Like the other brother, so not Liam, the other one.
Hot, too.
Is hot. Is
Like,
hot.
Is
Like,
hot. And I'm like, he's got this like Kennedy face going
Yes,
on. He's the
real
one that,
Kennedy vibes.
What's his name again? Luke?
I think
Luke
Luke Hemsworth. Yeah, Luke
Hemsworth?
Hemsworth. Yes.
And then the Wilson brother. Do you
Yes.
remember and how hot he was?
Yeah.
Yes, he's also really hot. Yeah,
Oh
what's
my
his
gosh.
name? Okay, hold on. Oh my God, this is so sad because like so many of these articles just don't even talk about him. Andrew Wilson. So Andrew Wilson was in, I think he was in Bottle Rocket with them.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
That's right. Mm-hmm. So the non-famous celebrity sibling.
Right.
Siblings.
Yeah. So
Are we going to FMK them?
I think so.
Oh
I
my
think
gosh.
so.
Okay, so you have Andrew Wilson. We have Luke Hemsworth.
Okay.
We need one more. We need one more celeb sibling.
Scarlett Johansson's brother.
Okay, I've got one. And she was also kind of famous, but then kind of wasn't. Do you remember whenever Hillary Duff was a thing and then there was, what are you looking at?
Vin and Paul Diesel.
Oh.
Paul Diesel.
Sorry.
Anyways.
Sorry. It's like Vin and Paul Diesel. Like I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Do you remember whenever Hillary Duff was like a thing in the 2000s and they really, really tried really hard to make her sister Haley?
Haley
famous?
Duff?
Haley
No.
Duff?
Right.
You don't remember Haley Duff?
No.
She had a single...
She got pretty famous though.
She was in one of the Bring It Ons, but it never worked. It just never worked. Like they tried really hard to make Haley Duff happen, and Haley Duff just wasn't going to happen. So I would go with Haley Duff.
Haley Duff? Okay. I feel that way. Speaking of people that they tried to make happen in the early 2000s, Sam Worthington is like that to
They
me.
really did try. And there's no reason he shouldn't have been famous because he was also super hot.
Also good actor too, right?
He was in everything. Yeah. He's on my mind just because of that Under the Banner of Heaven show or whatever. He's on that with Andrew Garfield. He's doing pretty good
for
too.
him. Good for him still working. Look at you, Sam, out there doing the thing.
Doing the thing.
Okay, so let's FMK these three people. Okay, the less famous siblings.
Not Paul Diesel. We're not going to include Paul Diesel.
Do you want to include Paul Diesel instead?
Paul Diesel? I mean, honestly.
I can't stop laughing about it. It sounds so
Is that really their last name, Diesel?
Yeah, apparently.
Wow.
I mean, it seems weird that his brother would go by it if it wasn't.
Yeah. Okay, I don't know Haley Duff. I do know how hot the oldest Wilson brother is.
And I'm tall, the tallest, and probably the hottest, to be honest.
Yes.
Yeah.
Arguably the hottest,
Fucking him. Honestly, like it's going to be a blast. I've always had a crush on Luke Wilson, actually, which is also an excellent FMK to get to. One day is FMK the Wilson brothers because I feel like there's a flavor for everybody.
That's so true.
100%. I mean, and maybe you could do a Family Stone situation. You can sleep with Andrew, and then at the end of the day, you'll
end up with Luke.
You know?
Yeah. I think that's a happy ending that I'm looking forward to. But yes, so I'm gonna fuck Andrew Wilson. I think I'm gonna marry the short king, Luke Hemsworth.
Short king, Luke Hemsworth, yes. He is the shortest of his brothers, whereas Andrew Wilson is the tallest of his brothers.
But his eyes.
He's
my
gorgeous.
God. He is.
And he's like definitely doing well for himself. You know what I mean? Like he's not just riding the
Westworld.
coattails. Yeah, you got that Westworld money.
And he's Australian, so there's a plus.
Oh, that dual
GTFO,
citizenship
you know what I mean?
is looking real good
Nice.
these days.
Yeah, definitely gonna marry him.
And we're gonna add that in the pro column. So, yeah, no, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna marry Luke.
Same. I think I'm gonna do the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that. Yeah. I'm going to marry Luke too. And I think that the reason is just because, I mean, it's weird because you're right. He does have that Kennedy good looks.
Oh,
you
he
know?
does.
It's almost too good looking.
He's almost
like, he's
too
definitely
good
not my
looking. That's what I was going to
Yeah.
say. Is like there's something about his face, like because
It's almost
I don't know,
too much.
You look at him, and in my view, and this is just my opinion, I would say that he is probably the second best looking brother. I think he's better looking than Luke Hemsworth, to me.
Yes, I agree.
But then, Chris Hemsworth has this
Wins.
quality about him. But Luke Hemsworth, his face is like, in the pictures that I have seen, is like so symmetrical. Like it looks like Luke Hemsworth looks like an algorithm wrote his face. You know what I mean? Like you told a computer, you gave a computer like a bunch of information about like, this is what we find attractive. And they were like, got it, good. Right. And like, that's what they did and made Luke Hemsworth's face. And it almost scares me.
Yeah. I feel that way about Charlize Theron.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Where
You're
she's
like,
just like,
perfection though. God.
like I'm
But she's
low-key
also-
nervous.
But she also like can make herself look very unattractive as well.
oh, yeah, no. Even when she's like quote unquote ugly, I'm
You see
like,
monster.
yes.
Oh.
Yeah. She's amazing. What about you, Keegan? What are you doing?
Well, okay. Let me think about this for a second.
I feel like we haven't given Haley Duff her time to shine. And I feel like part of that is because I missed Hillary Duff. I honestly couldn't tell you what her famous sister is famous for. It sounds like a Disney
I really only
person.
know her from younger.
Yeah, Hillary Duff was famous for the phenomenon Lizzie McGuire,
Oh, that's right.
which was massively popular whenever I was in like middle school.
Okay.
Lizzie McGuire was like so popular, and so she had a bunch of albums out, Hillary Duff, and then Haley Duff also released music, and then I think she was in one of the Bring It On movies. Like they tried really hard to get Haley Duff to be a thing, and it just like never quite happened for her. I think she ended up doing some like holiday Hallmark movie type things. Haley Duff just seems very steady. Like I feel like of the three of them, she's probably the most sure bet in terms of like, if you just want a very chill marriage with somebody.
And that's the kind of fame that I want. I want like that Hallmark movie fame. Like
Yeah,
you're
'cause
not
that
so
pays,
famous.
That pays well.
That's right. And you're not so
yeah.
famous that you can't go out to dinner with your friends and your
Right.
family and enjoy time, you know,
Yes,
but
if you want like a chill life, like, very comfortable financially and very chill with someone who seems like they have their shit together, Haley Duff seems like a really good choice. Now, with that said, a little boring for me, like maybe just a little boring. So I am going to mix it up slightly. I am going to actually marry Andrew Wilson.
Yeah, he's so tall.
And I just feel like Christmases in the Wilson household have to be bananas. Like that is definitely not a 5K running family. That is a we're doing mimosas at breakfast family.
No, the eggnog
sure.
is spiked.
yes.
I want to know what their mom is like on Christmas morning, because she just like, because of who her sons are, I'm like, she has got to.
She's got to be awesome. Yeah.
She's got good mother-in-law vibes, and I don't even know a thing about this woman, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to marry him. I'm going to hang out with Owen and Luke and just have a good time, right? I'm going to fuck Luke Hemsworth. We're going to go on a fantastic Australian vacation, and it's just going to be like Pound Town for a full weekend. Okay.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
That's my vibe. That's what I'm thinking. It's like with him, I'm like, it's a lock the door. We're not going anywhere.
Oh,
Nice.
hang that thing on the.
Well, you got to make it a whole weekend because it's like a 23-hour flight.
Right.
So
That's right. We can't just turn around and come back. I'm crossing time zones. Like
I've lost a day and now I'm gaining one back. It's a whole thing. So
we're in another hemisphere. I'm like the seasons have changed on me.
Yes,
like
yes.
we
the
have
toilet
to,
water goes the opposite direction.
Yeah,
I mean,
we got to make it worthwhile. And Haley, nothing against her at all. If this was like a fuck, marry, friend situation, like
friend.
Haley gives me very earth sign vibes. Like Haley is gonna come to your house and help you pack and label all your boxes with exactly what's in them. Like
Wait.
that is who she is. I feel
that is
like.
also me. I don't know how that happens, but that is also me.
Oh, good to know.
Yeah.
Oh, dude,
honestly.
how many times have I offered? I am like, I will come help you clean your closet out. I will Marie Kondo your life if you would like. I love that shit.
And I definitely get those vibes from Haley Duff. So if this was Fuck, Marry, Friend, I would friend her all day long. I would love to go get brunch with her and Hillary.
Yeah, it would be a good time. Well, we do actually have some new patrons that we need to shout out.
We do. And it's so funny because our patrons are very on theme this week.
Right.
So we want to shout out our first patron, Sarah Parrott. Welcome. And then our second patron, Robin Peacock. We have a bird-themed patron announcement.
Oh, we love it. Put a bird on it.
Amazing. Did you guys coordinate? Did you call each other up and you're like, this is the week we're going to sign up? We got 3 birds and 2 patrons. It's incredible. But welcome so much to our Patreon family. We are so thrilled to have you. As soon as I am back in LA, we will get all of your rewards shipped to you. But in the meantime, if you have any FMK suggestions or Tainted Love suggestions or Would You Rathers, we always love to hear those. So please, please, please reach out.
Yeah. Or if you also too feel so inclined, we'd love to see a review. We'd love to see a review from you guys. That would be amazing. That always helps, just support us and lets other people who are looking for podcasts know that you guys love us and we love you.
Yeah. Well, you guys want to take 5 and we'll come back with stories?
Yeah. Yes.
Sweet.
And we're back. Okay. Christina, kick us off with stories.
Okay. I got this one from Reddit and it is fucking terrifying. So if you're ready to go on this horror journey with me.
Amazing. Sounds amazing.
We'll start off with the funny part, sort of. Go get invited to a home date where the guy would cook a nice meal for me. 30 minutes after finishing our dinner, I got a sudden attack of diarrhea, the worst type you can imagine. So I locked myself in his bathroom and did my thing for almost 20 minutes.
Oh, no.
Afterwards, I was so embarrassed and exhausted that I quickly just grabbed all my stuff and rushed out the door. It was horrible.
Oh, no.
Okay. The cute part. 2 days later, he texted me and we started talking again. I couldn't help but be honest with him since he seemed very concerned and worried about what had happened and kept asking me if he had done anything wrong since he really liked me and enjoyed my company. He reacted really well and apologized like it was his fault or something. He suggested we try again to get over this trauma.
Oh, no.
And he invited me to his place again, insisting jokingly that we order some food this time just to be sure that something doesn't go wrong again.
Oh, no.
So far, so good, right?
Uh-huh.
Needless to say, he was really nice about everything and really went out of his way to make me feel comfortable about everything. We met at his place and he asked me to decide the food and we ordered some chicken salad from this place where I usually eat. The creepy part.
No.
We had a great time, but guess what? Suddenly, I started to feel my stomach going crazy again.
No.
I couldn't believe it was happening. Plus, it felt even worse than the first time. So another lockdown in his bathroom, another date, gone down the toilet.
Literally.
Yeah.
Even worse, this time I was stuck on the can for more than an hour.
Oh, no.
Ashamed of myself, I of course proceeded to clean his bathroom. And while scrubbing his toilet, I accidentally hit something that wasn't supposed to be there.
No.
The brush got stuck on something that seemed like a cable.
God damn it. No.
I pulled on it a bit.
Stop
and a
it.
small pen-like device fell in my hands.
No.
Christina.
No.
Are you sweating right now?
No.
I didn't know what it was, but to my shock, figured out what was going on. In the meantime, he had disappeared from the hallway where I thought he was waiting for me. Repeating the exit from our first date, I grabbed my stuff and quickly snuck out the main door, passing his bedroom, which stood halfway open. In a few seconds, while walking slowly, I saw a figure sitting in a chair
No.
in another room
No.
further away.
No.
It was him, and he was sitting there jerking off to a screen which seemed to show the inside of a toilet.
Oh, this got
What in the creepy pasta?
This cannot be, right? Like, this cannot
right.
be.
I don't need to explain how creeped out and scared I felt. Luckily, he didn't hear me, so I snuck out and took a run for it all the way home. I went to the police, and I learned that he had done this with a couple of girls. Put some sort of laxative in their food and recording them while they spill their guts out, so to speak. He spent a couple of months in jail because, the legal system. Luckily, he moved away from my city after my brother found him and beat him nearly to death. But he is still out there in the world, probably waiting for his next victim.
No.
Sleep well, girls.
No. I can't listen. I gotta be honest. I can't believe he spent any time in prison or in jail at all. Like, I gotta be honest. 2
must
months.
not be.
I'm like that's actually okay. I gotta be honest. That is the part of the story that makes me like, yeah, that's not real.
It's the jail time.
I'm like,
everything else. You're like,
No.
Yep, sounds terrible.
Well, listen, we're gonna have one of those episodes.
No.
Here we go. I met this guy on Tinder. He was smart, good looking, and we seemed to have similar interests. We started chatting, and the conversation flowed easily. He was charming and attentive and even sent me song recommendations based on what I told him my taste was. I was smitten, which I love that.
That would have gotten me big time.
Mm-hmm. We finally met in person and things were just as good. On our first date, we closed down the bar and spent hours talking and making out in his car. We started seeing each other regularly and were getting into that early stage in a relationship between new and exciting and cozy. Everything seemed great. The only catch was that he was a little cagey anytime his family was mentioned. If I asked him anything about them, he'd redirect my questions. This seemed odd.
Yeah.
He had a framed picture of his parents in his house, so it seemed weird that he would barely talk about them and very clearly didn't want me to meet them. Then again, we'd only gone on about 5, albeit pretty intense, dates at this point, so I didn't think too much of it. One day, I was over at his place, up in his bedroom, and he was downstairs cooking breakfast. I got cold and opened one of his drawers looking to borrow a sweater. Again, girl, if you're just snooping, just say that. It's okay.
Yeah. It's okay. We do it.
Oh, no. But don't. Oh, no.
Right? I got cold and opened one of his drawers looking to borrow a sweater before heading down to join him. When I did, I saw the corner of a picture frame. Curious, I pulled out the picture.
No.
When I saw the person in the photo, I had to do a double take. It looked like my face staring back at me. It wasn't me, but everything from the point of the chin to the color of our hair to the cut of our bangs was nearly identical. Both of us even had freckles across our nose. The only real difference was that her eyes were hazel where mine were brown. I couldn't stop looking at the picture. I'd never had a doppelganger before, but she was surely it. When I went downstairs, I took the picture with me. I set it on the counter and kind of dazedly asked, "Who is this?" He froze. "She looks just like me." He paused a moment and then told me she was his sister.
Yep. I knew that was coming and somehow it still hits.
I guess they had once been close but had had a falling out about a year prior and she now refused to speak to or see him. I pointed out that it was a creepy coincidence that we looked so much alike, and obviously he must have thought so too, or he wouldn't have hid it from me. He kind of got quiet for a moment, and then I realized he was crying, like really crying. He started talking about how much he missed his sister, that she was his best friend, and how could she just cut him out of her life? He just wanted her back. It hit me then that it wasn't a coincidence at all. He had chosen me specifically because I resembled her so much.
Gross. Oh, God.
What the fuck, dude? We've been sleeping together. Get help.
That makes me think of that Michael Jordan. Get help.
Get help. Stop. Get help.
Get help.
As this was dawning on me, he leaned in for a hug as if he wanted me to comfort him in his time of distress. Absolutely not. I was so grossed out. I felt like I immediately needed a shower. I went to grab my things and he kept following me, crying, begging me not to leave. Before walking out the door, curiosity got the better of me. I asked him why his sister had cut him out. He didn't even hesitate to tell me that it was because she had come out as a lesbian and he wasn't okay with that.
What?
Oh, no.
Mm-hmm. Ew, goodbye. When I got to my car, it occurred to me that might have been the perfect time to mention to him that I was bisexual. In fact, maybe I should have asked for his sister's number. Then I could have had the chance to know what it was like to fuck myself. I immediately blocked his number after that, but it goes down as one of the weirdest, creepiest encounters I have ever had. Did he not want me to meet his parents because he knew they'd spot the resemblance? Why did he care who his sister slept with? Why was he so obsessed with her? What in the Greek tragedy fuck was all of that?
Oh my God. Greek tragedy fuck. Oh no.
That is awful.
Oh,
so
no.
awful.
Well, I may have oversold like how funny my story is. Because you guys had bangers.
Yeah, it was my poisoning someone with laxatives. There's so much wrong, but the whole like sister thing too.
Oof.
I mean,
Layers.
Can you imagine like if I was being cagey about a guy that I was seeing? I'm like, and you guys find the Instagram and find out
he looks just like Patrick. I would shit my pants.
It's so creepy.
You would be like, we need to talk to
I would
Christina.
give myself a laxative just so I could get it out of my system. I hate that so much. That's awful. Woof. Well, yeah. Once again, I think I may have oversold how good my story might be today. So, but here we go. Got this from Rana.
Okay.
Said, met this dude on Tinder. He seemed really outgoing and funny. He tells me he's really enjoys talking to me and wants to do something special for our first date. He lives outside of the city I'm in, where parking is hell. So he tells me to dress to the nines and meet him at the train, and we'll walk together to the restaurant. So I do as instructed, makeup, hair, high heels, walk to the train. He arrives, baggy jeans, tee, sneakers, no attempt to dressing up. Why? Dude, why would you do that?
I don't know.
Like, why tell somebody to dress literally to the nines and then dress to the zeros?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, speaking of things that shouldn't happen as frequently as they do on dates, this is one of those things that happens all the time.
Yeah. So stupid. Anyway, no attempt at dressing up. Immediately, he puts his arm around me and hand on my waist. Ugh. This is our first time meeting. Big no. Proceeds to walk me to this old, seedy jazz cafe. Everyone knows this place. No one goes there. He same side sits with me.
Hate that.
And pulls out his phone. Proceeds to immediately play me a 10 to 15 minute guitar solo he's recorded to impress me.
Of himself?
No.
Like him playing the guitar?
Yes.
No,
Here
I'm
is
sorry.
a sample of me playing the guitar on my phone.
That's gotta be worse than even playing in person. Like that's worse, right? Like he took the time to get his phone out, open voice memos.
You know why it's worse than actually playing the guitar there? Because when they're playing the guitar, they're busy playing the guitar.
Mm-hmm. He's just looking at you.
He's just looking at you
to get your
so
reaction.
then you have to have the right face on your face.
I could never. I would
10
never
to 15
pass.
Minutes?
I would never
to 15.
15 minutes. That's so long, you guys.
It's
my
too
face
long.
could never face that long. It couldn't. It could not. My face immediately would be like, "Oh, I hate this."
Yeah.
It would be, "Oh no, he would know immediately." He's extremely touchy the entire time, despite me pulling away. Proceeds to talk about how feminism is stupid for most of the date. Ugh, I hate this guy so much. Ugh. We order food. He orders apps for himself, doesn't share, and a steak dinner. I order a salad because I'm uncomfortable and I don't want him to spend money on me. That is a real vibe. Like where you're just like, I would rather eat what is the cheapest thing on the menu so I don't feel obligated to
In fact, I won't even take the full-size salad. I'll take the side salad that usually comes with the meal. How much can that cost? Like $3? That's what I'll have. Thank you very much.
Yes, exactly. Oh my God, me. I order a drink to start and then another later in the meal. He immediately comments on me ordering a second drink, implying I'm a drunk.
You're not my you're not the
boss
boyfriend. You're not my father. And even if you were, don't tell me what to do.
Never tell me what to do.
He insists on paying and his card gets declined.
Oh my God.
I pay for dinner.
Imagine insisting on paying and then your card getting declined. I mean,
it's a nightmare.
Your card getting declined, can we say that is one of the most like everyday embarrassing things that can happen, right? Like
you pull out your phone immediately and you're like, I got to call the bank. This is a mistake.
Have you ever had that happen where you have money in there?
Yes.
I've had that happen and I get so defensive because I'm like,
Me too.
I know there's
and
money
the poor
in this
person
account.
behind the counter is like, I know it happens all the time. I'm so sorry.
It happened in Whole Foods like a week ago, and
Whole Foods is the worst place for that to happen. Whole Foods or Gelson's, anywhere where rich people shop, because you know
good thing you didn't go to Air One.
You feel the judgment from everybody else in line where they're like, sure, you have money in that account. Okay. You're like, no, I swear to God I do.
I really do.
I swear to you I do. I swear there is money in here. Says we walk outside and he asks me where to next. Let's do a nightcap.
With what money, my guy?
Right.
With whose money?
For the only time in my life, look him in the eyes and ask him how in the hell he could think I'd ever want to go on another date with him.
Wow. I've only done that once. Like on the date was like, no, absolutely not. And it's kind of similar. They, their card didn't get declined. They were just like, oh, you got this drink? And I was like, oh, okay. And, then it was really, really touchy, inappropriately touchy for like a first date situation. And it was just the point where after that drink, I was like, I don't feel a connection, so I'm just going to go. And I only did that once because it was just so much of a, like, this is not going to happen in a million different universes. All of those other Christinas are also saying no.
No.
We are all shaking our heads in agreement.
Yes.
Yeah,
no, thank you.
The touching thing, like we were saying earlier, it's like there is something really intimate about touching someone on their waist. Like there's just something really intimate about that. If I've just met you and we don't know each other, like a handshake, fine, like whatever. That's a reasonable. I just met you contact. But like if you have your hand on my waist or the small of my back when we've just met.
No. Listen, I'm like a cat. Do not touch my belly.
Yeah.
At your own risk.
Yeah.
At your own fucking risk, my man.
Well, I'm ready to take you guys on a journey for Tainted Love. So you guys want to take a real quick break and then we'll come back?
Sounds good.
Okay, cool.
Welcome back. All right, Christina, start us off.
Okay. So I was telling Keegan this while you were in the bathroom earlier that I checked our Excel doc that we have about Tainted Loves. And then I didn't trust it. So I went and checked all of our show notes. Like that's how convinced I was. This is how much I knew the story in my heart. And I'm like, they know it. I know we've talked about it. We haven't, apparently. Okay. So I guess I just really, really know this story. I first saw it on a 2020 or maybe a 48 Hours, one of those programs.
Okay.
I think 2020. But it's been on Forensic Files. It has been, I don't think there's a dateline for it. There might be a Snapped. But this is the story about Mark Winger, and it's a fairly recent story. So I'm going to start off with a really horrific crime.
Okay.
So just trigger warning. It was, seemed like an open and shut case. Cops get called to this apartment. There is a man who's just shaking because his wife is dead. Her head has been beaten in with a hammer.
Oh my God.
Blood is everywhere, like on the ceiling, everything. And then there is a person beside him who's been shot twice in the head who is dead.
Oh my God.
So cops are like, what the fuck happened? And he's like, I was downstairs working out on my treadmill. I heard like a weird sound. I go upstairs and this man is standing over my wife. And I told him to get off and I had to shoot him. I had to kill him. At this time, Donna was still alive. And so was the person who he shot in the head.
Oh my God.
The cop takes a couple Polaroids really quick and then they get rushed to the hospital where both Mark's wife, Donna, and this gentleman, this mystery gentleman, pass away. So cops are like, okay. Oh, go ahead.
No, because I was like, I actually don't think I know this case, but now it's starting to come into focus for me. Okay. I think I do know it.
The gym thing made me, okay.
Yeah.
I think I might know this too.
So cops are like, okay, let's find out who this dude is. And they're like, okay, his name's Roger Harrington. And they were like, the guy immediately goes, oh my gosh, we actually just complained about him. Because Donna had just gotten back last week from a trip to visit her family, and she had used this like airport shuttle from the airport to their house, and it's like a 90-minute ride from their house to it was like the Springfield airport. Anyways, so it was like a 90-minute ride, and she was so uncomfortable in the ride. She's with their adopted baby, Bailey, and he is talking about how he hears voices in his head named Dom that are like telling him to kill himself and kill others.
I don't know that. What in the fuck? I don't know this.
We have had some wild Uber rides in our lives.
It ain't that.
We've heard some wild stuff, but he starts
An hour
talking
and
about
a half
orgies, suicidal ideation, like all this stuff. So like Donna is so shaky when she gets home. She tells Mark all about it. He's like, we have to call the company immediately. They call the company and make a complaint against Roger Harrington, and he like loses his job. So
motive
cops, the cops are like, makes sense. So he lost his job. He obviously has some issues,
right?
And
animosity,
he came to kill, and they're like, open shut. Tragic. You're a hero. Like you did your best to try to save your wife, kind of thing. And Mark is just like surrounded by so much love because him and Donna had been married for years at that point. Donna has like 3 sisters, very, very tight-knit family. And the sisters just rally around him. Just like, we'll help you, whatever you need. I know we live like kind of far away and you're stuck now with a newborn on your own. And it's really hard. Like you've got a serious job. You're like a nuclear power plant tech. So you've got to go do that stuff and we'll help with the baby. But he's like, no, that's okay. Like I'll hire a nanny and that'll help around the house. That's the thing. So he interviews this young woman named Rebecca. Rebecca's like beautiful. She's younger and her heart just like hurts for Bailey because Bailey lost really by this point 2 mothers because she was given up for adoption, which Rebecca took as like that teenager gave her up and she lost that mother. And then she turned around and lost Donna too. So she was like, I'm going to do anything I can to help this poor baby and this poor man, this amazing man that had to like.
Do you feel you feel this coming off of me and Cassie, right? Like both of us are like,
and so the family's like, it's a very pretty new nanny that you have
that you got there.
And he's like, it hasn't even been 5 months. And he's like, yeah, we actually decided to elope and get married.
Wow.
Listen, I'm going to need you to pump the brakes on that one. It's been 5 months since your wife was brutally murdered. I feel like you haven't had enough time to process your trauma.
Kill her murderer? This feels Like a lot.
And Rebecca had said, because she's been interviewed, she said she even asked, she's like, this feels really fast. And his excuse to her would be, well, when you've had a really good marriage before, like all you want is another one.
Okay.
So she was like, okay. And they turn around.
Hold on. Can we please just talk about that statement for like a second? Because you had a really good marriage with a very specific person. Like it takes it takes a very specific person in order to have that kind of marriage. You can't just replace it with anybody. So it's just like for him to say like, oh no, it's just when you've had a really good marriage, all you want is another one. So you just jump right in. To something.
I am so glad
the love
that
of your life just
said
got
that.
murdered, supposedly. The person you had this wonderful marriage with.
So my mom is on Our Time.
The old people dating.
Yes. And you would be surprised how prevalent that statement is.
Oh, wow.
For older men are just looking to be married.
They don't
give
realize
a fuck who it is. It's just all about like they had a good marriage. Exactly.
That's not how this works.
We know.
That's so weird. It's just weird to me because
they want
like,
another
then
mom.
What that says to me is that you have very specific ideas of what a wife should be like.
Right.
And you miss having that component in your life, having someone there to do certain things for you. Right? Like that's what that feels like to me. And maybe I'm wrong. I know, grief is a thing, trauma is a thing, and everybody processes that differently. And maybe like the thoughts just aren't connecting up there because of that, but it feels not right. It's just not right.
Yeah. So, I mean, they turn around and they have like 3 more kids, like at breakneck speed.
Oh my God.
Like 3? One right after the other. Yes.
So they have 4 children now.
Yes.
Holy shit.
And everything seems to be going well. They're living their life. Rebecca's taking care of the kids. Mark has a good job and, he's kind of a hero in the town. Except the police officer is a little bit, the main detective is like, something feels like icky.
I can't wash this off.
Something's not right. Like Mark kept coming into the police station and be like, so everything good?
Gonna wrap this up soon, or
is it closed? Because you said it was closed.
Mm-hmm.
But
how
it's
closed
like,
is it?
It's like closed and
is the door ajar or is it like closed?
Wow.
Closed?
So, nothing suspicious about that.
Yeah, exactly. And that was exactly what the detective said. He's like, it was just weird how he kept asking, and we were like, yeah, no, you're a hero or whatever.
A hero.
But, like after the last time he did it, because he did it a few times, the detective looked at his partner and was like, something's up.
Yeah.
Something's just weird.
How often do they do that where it's just like, dude, if you could just be chill.
Jesus,
like it would be much better for you if you could just
no
like,
one
be
would ever
chill.
know.
No one would know. How would they know?
How would they know?
Well, here's the other thing that happens is that Donna, bless her heart, she like worked in a hospital. She was in nursing. So Mark gets really sick one time and he goes to the hospital and he ends up running into Donna's best friend, Deanne Schultz. And Rebecca's like, she was being really weird around us. Did you notice? And Mark's like, she's just mad that, we're not letting her see Bailey, or just made up some weird excuse that Rebecca was like, that's really, really weird. But Deanne was so shaken by seeing Mark that she actually went into the police station. And this is like 4 years after the crime. She goes into the police station. She's like, sits down. And she's like, has, her bottle of water. And she's like, I need to tell you, I actually like had a really long affair with my best friend's husband.
Oh.
And he talked about how he needed me to come in and find a body. Police are like, what? Excuse me?
I'm sorry, what?
I'm sorry, Deanne, you didn't think that maybe this information was worth sharing sooner?
Yes. She actually, what she says is that she didn't believe him when they were talking about it. And then when her best friend whose husband she was sleeping with,
let's
it.
not call her a best fucking friend, okay? Like, you're my best friend. I would never fucking sleep with Eric. I wouldn't even sleep in the same bed with him. Let alone.
It's
wild. So
wild.
fucking pissing me off. Like, don't call your best.
So not only, so this is your best friend, and they were best friends. So not only you're sleeping with Donna's husband, but then Donna's husband's saying wild ass shit to you about how you need to come in and find her body.
And then your best friend is murdered.
Wait, time out. So I thought does she work at the hospital? Is that what he said? Okay.
Yeah.
I thought he was saying, I need you to find me a dead body, like a body so that he could use to play.
No, needs her to walk in on.
No, she needs to discover her best friend's mutilated, murdered body.
Know.
The worst.
Yeah, so she could be the one to call the cops and not him.
Right. So Deanne is so shaken when her friend finally gets murdered. The guilt of having that affair and everything that's going on in her life. She actually starts to think about unaliving herself, has a lot of mental health stuff. But then seeing him in the hospital finally just jarred something. And then she did. So yes, it is, believe me, shitty.
Wow.
Shitty 4 years that they could have had answers and that she could have come forward sooner. And then, maybe also not have an affair with your best friend's husband.
Woof.
But she does go to the cops and the cops are like, that is so interesting. Let's go find that evidence from the crime that we didn't think was a crime.
Oh, no.
What, you think they had a bunch of it?
Yeah, they're 4 years ago, and we didn't think that this was a crime at the time. So, or we didn't think,
they
that
have
anybody could be.
They have the Polaroids, and that's it.
They had the Polaroids, and then they also had this weird note in Roger Harrington's car that had Mark Winger's address and a time.
That's weird.
So why would he have that? If he was just that, to me, that note would have been a red flag 4 years ago. If he had been so upset about losing his job and was coming for vengeance, it's just, it's one thing to have the address is one thing. Yes, I wrote down the address so I remembered where
from
it
the
was.
Airport, right?
Right. But to have the specific date and time feels like you had an appointment.
Right.
Right?
Yes. You were planned to be there.
Yeah.
Yep.
And Mark's name on it. So they're like, okay.
Oh.
So we have that. And then we have these 3 Polaroids, which we managed to take before paramedics moved the bodies. The way that Mark was telling his story, the bodies should have been in a different position. If he came upon somebody beating his wife in the head and he shot him, he should fall backwards, right?
Yeah.
So that her head and feet would be facing a certain way and his would be opposite, right? Because he got shot in the head and flew back. But they were both facing the same direction. So they were like, this also doesn't make sense. This doesn't follow the story.
Right.
So they finally do arrest him. And it's this long drawn out trial. Mark is what motive do I have? This person is lying on me. And they must have moved the bodies before they did the Polaroids, blah, 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 blah. Nobody believes them now. Everyone's like, here's what actually happened is that you had been wanting out of your marriage for a while. You saw a convenient theory because she did actually have that terrible ride home.
So that was true.
That was true.
Oh, no.
And so he's she's telling him about this awful, traumatizing thing. And all he can think is, oh, I'm going to use this
Scapegoat.
as a scapegoat to murder you.
Oh, Jesus.
So he is convicted. And what's worse is that as soon as he's in jail, he starts talking to other people in jail. And he's like, wouldn't be here if my childhood friend had ponied up some money.
What?
And also, if Deanne hadn't said anything. So he starts to plan a murder.
What?
Inside jail.
Why is this also something repeat offenders? Like, again, this is something that happens so often where like, I'm like, guy, look, has this ever worked? Has it ever worked to try and hire a hitman from inside prison?
Also, like, who are you? Don Corleone or like fucking dude from Breaking Bad? Like, what makes you think that you know that you can be a hitman? Like, it just doesn't make any sense.
Coming in hot, like you own the jail or something. Like you're a like lifer prisoner, like you've been there before. And everybody's probably like rolling their eyes so hard.
Yeah, I know. And when you see his picture too, he looks like a nerd, and that's what is so. It was so hard.
He
for
would
Donna's
kiss your fucking
family.
hand in a bar.
Yeah, he just like Donna's family couldn't believe it. And what's worse is that like, you know, they had tried to keep in contact with Mark and Rebecca specifically because they really wanted a relationship with Bailey.
Right.
And Mark had kind of kept them at arm's length. So if there is a happy ending to the story, it's that now Bailey is grown up and she has a great relationship with Donna's sisters and Donna's mother.
Good.
And is like,
that's her family.
Yes. You know, she did get to kind of have that family. So yeah, that is the terrifying story of the hero, quote unquote, Mark Winger.
What a garbage fucking human.
Exactly.
Honestly. Jesus. Like, in what? Oh my God. Just the fact that everybody is just like, oh, you're so amazing. You're like patting him on the back, basically. I want to know about the life support or the life insurance policy on her too. I bet there was a nice little payout.
That did not come up, but yeah, what was difficult for me when I was researching the case is like trying to find, yes, he was having an affair, but it didn't seem like it was that serious for either of them. It just like trying to find a motive for why he had to go. And it was vicious. She was bludgeoned in the head with the hammer. That's so much anger. And
for what? Yeah. For what reason?
For what reason?
And he's never come forward to say anything. Like he's never clarified because it doesn't really make sense because it's not like he was with Deanna afterwards. You know?
Right. No, he wasn't. And so that to me is the most like infuriating thing is that it really does feel so fucking senseless.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh,
it's just and a wolf in sheep's clothing. Because when you see his pictures, he had everyone fooled. Everyone.
Yeah.
And so what do you do with like how that ugliness that might be lurking in a relatively normal looking person's head is terrifying. So.
Woo. Wow. You know, actually that I don't think I did know that one. I thought
I didn't either.
I did because I'd heard there's another case where that happens where it's like two people in the hospital. And I think maybe we did tell that one where they were like, well, that's strange, you know, and then they both died in the hospital. But I don't think I knew this story.
No.
Yeah. And it's I think it takes place too in like Missouri. I'll have to send you the article.
Yeah, you said something about the Springfield airport, so I was like, wait, what?
Yeah. But it's like which Springfield because there's like a million.
True. That is true.
Right. I just want to make sure. I know it's Springfield, but I don't know if it's Springfield, Missouri, so I didn't want to say.
Yeah.
Wow,
but yeah.
Good one, see?
Hey.
Wow. Yeah. Jesus.
It's actually Springfield, Illinois.
Oh,
Illinois. Okay. I mean, close enough. Let's be real. A Midwest Springfield.
Well, what are you guys watching this week?
I'm going to be real honest, man. Our show opened this weekend. And so we went, you guys both know what Tech Week is like. So it's just been working all day. And then I've been getting home before the show opened. I was getting home like between midnight and 2 a.m. every day. And then the show's been open. So it's just been running. So I have not, watched or read a single thing this week. It's like work, come home, go to sleep, and then get up and do the whole thing the next day. So I have not watched or read anything at all.
Wow.
Yeah, I've actually. So I took a few days off earlier this week because I had a friend in town, and we went to like LACMA and the Getty, and it was actually amazing, and it was so fun. She'd actually just gone through a very Christina story of getting divorced and, you know, just kind of like, who are you now? Where are you now in your life? And what's it look like to not be part of, a couple?
Yeah.
And so I got to do a lot of stuff. We wasn't really watching movies or anything, but we got to hang out, and it was good. It was really nice. And they were together for a really long time. So I just kind of told her, I was like, I just wanted her to have some memories that didn't include him.
Yeah.
Because when you spend like half your lifetime with somebody, more than half your lifetime with somebody, that's your 99% of your memories involve that person. So, it's nice to be able to come kind of get a cleanse away from home. So we mostly did that. So that was a lot of fun.
Yeah. And divorce, I wouldn't wish divorce on my worst enemy. Like, even when you want it, it's a lot. It's a huge transition.
Yeah. Because you're not just getting rid of a person, right? You're not just getting rid of that bad relationship. You also have to get rid of, there's a piece of yourself that you feel like you lose, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like,
you lose your hopes and dreams for the future as they stood
with that person.
Yeah. So it does, in a way, it feels like a death. Speaking of feeling like a death, I started watching Ozark, which I had never seen before.
I love that show. Do you like it?
So I'm in the middle of season 3 right now.
Oh, wow.
I told Eric, I'm like, I want one episode where things are just fine.
Oh, no.
No. That's not how that show goes. You are watching the wrong show.
I'm like, watching the wrong show. Scene.
The amount of anxiety you can get watching that show, for real, because it is like, the thing is, because I've now seen most of it twice, because I watched it by myself and then I watched it with Anthony, and I haven't finished it yet, like, because I know that all the episodes are now out and I haven't finished it, but both times when I was watching it, I was just like, this just seems so stressful. I was just like, choosing this lifestyle just seems like it would be so much stress. Like, they are constantly. Like, we have to do this thing or we will all get murdered. Like,
all of that.
Jesus. I don't think it's for me. I gotta be honest.
I want to say, I want Jason Bateman to breathe once.
No, he can't. He cannot. No.
It's a tough
There's
tough
no
watch,
to breathe,
but it's
Christina.
really fun.
Yes, it's so good.
For being
Ruth,
so tense.
Isn't Ruth? They're just the best.
Her taglines, she's like, I don't know fuck about shit. I'm like, I love her.
I think I know her.
Ruth Langmore is my spirit animal.
Totally.
Like,
I started
just
calling
love her.
people a bitch wolf because of her, because I was just like, that's the
wolf.
most perfect thing. Whenever you're like, you're like, you fucking bitch wolf.
Amazing.
She's the best.
Oh, God, I love her. Julia Garner.
Yeah, I definitely recommend watching it, but I feel like I wish I had watched it. I wish it was one of those weekly shows so that it was paced out, because binging it is really, it's just an anxiety thing.
It's almost like it's one of those shows that you need to have another lighter show going on at the same time. Like, you need to be watching like The Good Place at the same time you're watching Ozark, so you can like palate cleanse before you go to sleep or something, because it is so intense in a way that I'm just like, I could never lead a life of crime.
I couldn't
fall apart.
I'm too lazy. I can't commit to a workout routine, so I feel fairly confident that I would bitch out on crime too.
And then you're all murdered by a cartel.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
It's just best not to get into it in the first place, right?
Helen, the attorney,
amazing.
Her style, I'm just like, I want to rip it off. She's got that, just those high-waisted trousers.
She's a Capricorn for sure.
Oh,
Helen Pierce
100%.
is a Capricorn. Yeah.
So yeah, and Wendy, that's a Virgo, at least so far. She's
the scariest Virgo of all time. Yeah.
Yes, she's terrifying. I'm scared of Wendy Bird.
As you should be.
Yeah. So definitely recommend it. But if you guys have something we should watch or something we should read, definitely, if you have stories, please reach out to us at our one-stop shop of a website. It's myworstatepodcast.com. And we love you so much.
Cheers.
This is a Glass Box Media Podcast.